Okay, so welcome back to Not So Perfect World. I know it's been a minute. I have been doing other things. That's all I'm going to say. There's really no excuses, but just kind of dealing with personal things, which actually leads me to the conversation that we're going to have today about perception and perspective. I've recently been revisiting some ideas that I had in undergrad. I know it was a long time ago, about human interest stories. They really interest me. I know a lot of people who have very interesting stories that could be a blessing to a lot of people if they felt, like they could have a safe space to talk about these things. And I've noticed that most people's number one drawback was how others will perceive what they're saying, or another person's perspective on their life. So I thought that would be an important conversation. Also, because recently I have discussed with my mom doing something different, making a life change. And before I had that discussion, there was a little bit of fear there just because I was unsure of how she was going to perceive what I was going to say. I didn't want her to feel like there was anything against her, or that it wasn't I wasn't grateful for all that my parents have done. So it took me a while to feel comfortable enough to say something. So that's why this topic came up. I'm going to give an example. So here in the past couple of years, I've been rebuilding my relationship with my dad, and there are certain events that I may want to discuss one day that we have two different perspectives on. So me being a child in a childhood event and me explaining that to him, he may feel like, okay, that's not really how it happened. And I may not be as willing to hear his side of the story, or for him to tell me his perspective, because I don't feel like that is accurate. So a lot of the process of healing to me is being able to tell that story to someone, or even just the person who was in that situation with you. But if we don't feel comfortable enough to do so, then how do we heal? How do we help others? How do we be a blessing to others and tell our story if we don't feel comfortable enough to do it? So I have a few reasons why people do not share this information, whether it's a really personal story or just something that they hold in because they don't feel comfortable talking about. The number one reason to me why people are afraid to be open and honest about themselves and their feelings is fear. Not really as much internal fear, but fear of the outside world and what they will think. They have a fear of the possible backlash. What are people going to say about me if they figured out that this happened to me as a child, or that I did this and they've always thought that I was innocent? Number two, negative perceptions of the event. So if I say something that to me wasn't all that bad, but you see it as super negative or harmful, then that can also change how you feel about me and change our relationship. Another reason why people fear is they don't want people to hold those events or things that happened in life against them. So if I say, okay, well, back then when we were dating, this happened. Yeah, that's getting, I'm relieving something, but I'm also putting something else on you, which you can probably hold that against me for a while. Just put it that way. So fear to me is the number one reason why people don't share their perspective on certain events. Another question I had is, why is it important to have safe environments to speak freely? So the number one reason is to eliminate the fear. I mean, let's be honest. If I can speak freely, then I'm less likely to be fearful in another situation or speaking to another person. It can also assist with the healing process. So like I just mentioned, getting stuff out in the open and being able to discuss it with another person or someone who was in that event with you, it can really assist with the healing process. I am a firm believer that if I can tell you exactly what happened and how I was feeling about it, and you listen and take it in and don't lash out at me after me telling you that, then I have a better chance of healing from that situation and moving on, rather than me holding it in and never saying anything, and then it just building up one thing after another until I explode. A big part of healing for me at my age is being able to release that anxiety of holding it in, and ultimately relinquish any type of depression that comes with certain discussions or certain events that happen. It's so hard to eliminate anxiety when you're still dealing with that same issue. But if I can discuss it with you then and get it out in the open, and if I do need to come back and hash out the situation with you, it eliminates a lot of anxiety, which eventually can lead to depression. So for that reason, it's very important. When discussing this with people who made decisions for you, rather it be a parent or someone in a relationship, it also helps with that type of healing process, because we didn't ask to be in a lot of those situations, especially as children. So if this happened between mom and dad when we were younger, and I'm explaining how that affects who I am now or how I treat people now, then that's a whole different kind of healing, you know? Like, I didn't ask to be here, and allowing me to express that freely without you being upset with me, it's just a total different kind of release. Lastly, I have on my list, you choose the path we took until we came of age, as far as your parents. So although it may hurt to hear our truth, we have the right to tell our truth. So, I mean, in a situation, they always say there's his part, her part, and then somewhere in the middle lies the truth. Sometimes the kids are in the middle and they can kind of tell the truth in the situation. So being open-minded and listening without taking offense to everything that we say, super helpful, super healing. I just want people to know that it's okay to share your story. Number one, because God didn't allow you to go through something if he didn't want to use it for his purpose for your life. So if you dealt with something that is was super detrimental to you, but you were able to overcome it through love and your relationship with God, then it should be told in good timing, but it should be told. So I mean, this is not all for personal gain for me to tell you this so people can be interested in doing these human interest stories, but just for your own personal benefit, have those discussions. First talking about, hey, perspective and perception. This is what I'm going to discuss, and this is how I need you to take it so that we can both heal from this situation, and then have those talks and discuss those issues that have been hurting you for a long time, or that you buried deep within, that need to come out in order for you to move forward with life. That's all I have for today. I am extremely excited about the journey that I'm going on. Hopefully I will be a little bit more, what word am I using? I don't know. Hopefully I will just be a little bit more self-disciplined and record more so that you guys can go on this journey, and hopefully it can assist other people. But for now, thank you for watching another episode, and I hope to see you next time.